Are you spiritually gifted? Or have you been sensing something inside you that you cannot explain? Before you skip this video, listen carefully. Because spiritually gifted people almost always feel different before they ever understand why. If you are here, it is not by accident. And by the end of this video, you will know whether you are carrying a rare spiritual signature that changes everything about wealth, purpose, and power. If this kind of deep knowledge speaks to you, subscribe now, because this channel is not for everyone. It is for those who feel called to remember who they really are. Let us begin. Most people think spiritual gifts look dramatic. Visions, voices, miracles. But ancient wisdom tells a different story. True spiritual gifts are subtle, quiet, often misunderstood. And that is why so many gifted people spend most of their lives confused, underestimated, or struggling financially despite their intelligence and effort. Here is the first truth that ancient teachings agree on. Spiritual gifts are not given to make life easy. They are given to shape leaders, builders, and guides to the future. That is why the spiritually gifted often experience hardship early in life. Not because they are unlucky, but because pressure awakens dormant power. If you grew up feeling older than your age, if you question reality before others did, if you sense patterns others could not see, these are not coincidences. They are early signs. Ancient cultures believe spiritual gifts appear first as sensitivity, heightened awareness, deep intuition, an inner voice that feels louder than logic. This is why spiritually gifted people struggle in shallow environments. Small talk drains them. Mindless routines suffocate them. And chasing money for status alone feels empty. Yet, paradoxically, they are often destined to master wealth later in life. Here's why. In ancient wisdom, wealth was never separated from consciousness. Money flows toward clarity, vision, and alignment, not effort alone. Spiritually gifted individuals naturally think in systems, patterns, and energy. They feel when something is off. They sense opportunities before they are visible. But early on, this gift feels like a curse. You may have been called too sensitive, too intense, too deep. What they did not tell you is this. Sensitivity is the foundation of mastery. The gifted can read rooms before words are spoken. They feel shifts in people, markets, and moments. This is the same ability elite investors, leaders, and strategists rely on. But without understanding your gift, you sabotage it. You overgive. You doubt yourself. You wait for permission. This is where many gifted people stay stuck for years. So let me ask you something important. Have you ever noticed that when you finally trust your intuition, things move fast? But when you ignore it, everything feels heavy. That is not imagination. That is alignment versus resistance. Ancient teachings say spiritual gifts activate fully only when the individual stops trying to fit in and starts honoring their internal signal. Here is another sign few talk about. Spiritually gifted people often experience repeated cycles of collapse and rebirth. Things fall apart suddenly. Relationships end unexpectedly. Paths close without warning. This is not punishment. It is refinement. Every collapse removes false layers. Every rebirth brings you closer to your true frequency. This is why spiritually gifted people often rise later than others. But when they rise fast. Because once alignment locks in, momentum becomes exponential. Now here is something critical about wealth. Spiritually gifted individuals are not meant to chase money. They are meant to attract it through clarity and value creation. Ancient wisdom taught that money follows those who see what others cannot, who solve problems before they become obvious, who operate from inner authority rather than external validation. If you have always felt that you were meant for something bigger but could never explain what, that feeling is not arrogance. It is remembrance. You are remembering a role, not desiring attention. This is why spiritually gifted people feel restless in ordinary success. They want impact, meaning, legacy. And when they finally align their work with their inner knowing, wealth stops being stressful. It becomes a tool. Here is where most people misunderstand spiritual gifts. They think being gifted means avoiding ambition. The truth is the opposite. Spiritual gifts were historically given to builders of civilizations, architects of systems, keepers of knowledge. but only after they mastered discipline. If you are gifted, procrastination is your greatest enemy because your mind sees possibilities faster than your habits can support. This creates internal friction. Vision without execution feels painful, which is why ancient teachings emphasize grounding rituals, daily structure, focused work. Spiritual gifts expand through consistency, not chaos. Now listen carefully. This may be the most important part of the video. If you are spiritually gifted, your wealth ceiling is tied to your self-trust. The moment you stop seeking external validation, the moment you act on intuition with discipline, the moment you stop explaining yourself to people who cannot see you, your reality shifts, opportunities appear, connections align, resources flow, not magically, but naturally, because alignment amplifies signal. Here is a final question for you. Have you noticed that when you commit fully to your truth, life tests you immediately? That is the final initiation. The test is not to stop you. It is to see if you will retreat back into comfort or step forward into power. Spiritually gifted people are not chosen to be comfortable. They are chosen to be clear. And clarity creates wealth faster than force ever could. If this message resonated with you, subscribe now, because the next videos will go deeper into activating spiritual intelligence for wealth, purpose, and mastery. Comment below and tell me this. Which part of this video felt like it was speaking directly to you? Because recognition is the first step to activation. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it.